Dave Lalman, our extension beef cattle specialist, joins us now. And Dave, we've seen some rain around the state, but producers in western Oklahoma still really feeling the effects of the drought. How are they coping, and what are you hearing from them?
Well, I think a lot of them still are trying to hold on to at least a core group of cows, whether it be commercial or seed stock operation, and struggling to find resource. I think a lot of them may be having to concentrate their cows around a water resource, and that's a particular struggle for many.
And you've gotten some calls on dry lot feeding. What kind of advice are you giving producers if they're considering that?
Dry lot feeding would be a way to kind of get through a difficult period. It'd also be a way to delay turnout on some of their pastures, even in the central and eastern part of the state, as our agronomists and range specialists tell us that might be good in the long term for our forages this year. That is to delay turnout. But basically all we're going to do is put the cows in a dry lot area or a sacrifice pasture and feed concentrate instead of feed hay or let them graze.
Okay, so what's the best way to kind of set that up, and what kind of things do you feed them?
Well, the nice thing about feeding the concentrate is it doesn't take hay, and a lot of people, or very much hay, a lot of people are out of hay, and it's very expensive anyway. So a very simple program for, let's say, a cow in middle stage of gestation. 1,200-pound beef cow would be something like, say, 6 pounds of, we'll just say prairie hay, 4 pounds of dried distiller grains, and 4 pounds of cracked corn. Okay, and then you'd have to include a mineral supplement with that's high in calcium. But those are the major components. That would cost on today's market somewhere around about $1.20 a day. And to do that with hay, if you had to go purchase hay and feed those cows in a little bit of high protein supplement, would cost around $1.40. So, you might save a little bit because you're using concentrate and rather than purchasing hay. Not going to save a lot, but it would certainly be a way to help people extend the time period when those cattle are off of their pastures.
Okay. Is early weaning also an option for producers wanting to hang on to some of their herd?
That would be another management strategy that they could implement. It's kind of out in left field, but because it requires quite a bit of management and labor. At OSU several years ago, there was some experiments done where calves were weaned at 45 to 60 days of age. And so they're pretty young and small, but you can pull them off the cow, put them in a dry lot, and feed a really high quality concentrate diet to those little calves. And believe it or not, they can get by and grow and thrive on concentrate feed without mother's milk. But it has to be a very specifically formulated diet, and I just encourage people, if they want to consider that, to contact a nutritionist or an extension educator to help them with that. But the nice thing about that, Lyndall, is that it reduces the nutrient requirements of the cow by about 20%. Basically, it reduces their grazing pressure by 20%, or you could go ahead and market some of those cows, let's say the older cows, and keep those calves in the dry lot for 45 to 60 days, and then turn them out later in the summer when they're big enough to utilize grass, and come this fall, that way you'd still have your entire calf crop to sell.
Okay, a couple of tips for continuing to manage the cattle during the drought. And for some more tips and a fact sheet on this topic, you can just go to our website, sunup.okstate.edu.